Hey everyone, so let's look at a question on resource allocation, which is a very standard exam question and a very standard microeconomics SAC question. So the question says, explain how an increase in the price of solar power would impact the allocation of resources in the solar panel market. And the first thing I think we need to be identifying here, and maybe I've made this a bit difficult, but coal power and solar panels, or coal powered and solar power, are both substitutes. Okay, so they both create power, so they're substitutes for one another. Now, in your answer, you need to refer to relative prices, which is key to allocating resources, and one type of efficiency. It's up to you. It's worth 4 marks. So this first part here is really about a change, this part here is really about a change in a particular market. In this case, I've made it a bit difficult because I've made it as the price of a substitute, but it could be anything. It could be a shift in the supply or the demand curve. So it could be a change in a supply factor or a demand factor. Doesn't really matter how the question starts. In all resource allocation questions, we're basically going to do the same thing. This question's given you some hints because it's told you to refer to relative prices. Even if it doesn't, you should always refer to relative prices when you're talking about the allocation of resources, because that's what sends signals to suppliers. And it's also told us to refer to one type of efficiency. Okay, so let's have a look at the marking guide. First mark is to demonstrate an understanding of the demand factor and how that would affect demand for solar panels or the demand curve. Okay. Again, if it was a different question, you would demonstrate an understanding of a different factor. The second mark is to explain how it would impact relative prices, and I think you should demonstrate what relative prices actually are here. The third mark is to explain how resource allocation would change, so how the change in relative prices would actually change the allocation of resources. So how would suppliers respond to that change in relative price? And finally, we're going to refer to one type of efficiency. Okay, I would usually refer to allocative efficiency. I think that's the easiest way to do it in these questions, because if the market's responding to a change in demand, well, it's giving consumers what they want. Okay, so the first sentence here is an increase in the price of a coal power would increase the demand for solar power. Okay, that's that change in the price of a substitute. The second is that this would increase the relative price of solar panels. If the relative price of solar panels increase, then that sends signals to produce more solar panels. So it sends a signal to suppliers, hey, there is a need for solar panels, so you should actually produce more. And finally, we're going to say that this will improve allocative efficiency as the market has responded to consumers' needs. Okay, this is a great structure, but we can definitely increase this and improve this answer. All right, so let's see how we can beef up this answer and demonstrate a deeper understanding. All right, so at the start, I'm going to demonstrate more of an understanding of the factor. So why would an increase in the price of coal power shift the demand curve for solar power? Or why would it increase the demand for solar power? It's because they're substitutes. So you need to write that. Coal power, which is a substitute to solar. Okay, and I've also added this second part here about this would shift the demand curve to the right. All right, so relative prices. Well, in my first answer, we didn't really demonstrate what relative prices are. So I would just open the brackets and say it's the price of one good or service compared to another. And we could explain why that is. So why does the price of solar panels, or the relative price of solar panels, increase? And remember, this is back to our last couple of questions, which is that there will be a shortage that will drive up prices. That second part is probably not necessary, but again, it's just showing the examiner you really understand how this works. I didn't actually say that it was an increase in relative prices in the other video, so we need to say that the relative price increasing, or I kind of did up here actually, so it doesn't matter. But again, the increase in relative prices would send signals to suppliers. What does it mean to produce more? Well, it means that they will allocate more resources towards the solar panel market. Some suppliers might enter that particular market and start producing more solar panels. So we really need to make that clear statement about resources being allocated or reallocated towards the solar panel market after the change in relative prices. Okay, suppliers are noticing this profit-making opportunities in that market. And finally, we need to delve a little bit deeper into allocative efficiency. So what is allocative efficiency? It's a situation where resources are allocated in a way that best maximizes society's needs and wants. It's a situation where we can't make anyone better off without making anyone else worse off. So some little mini definition of what the efficiency that you choose is. And I also just put a little bit here at the end about consumers having sovereignty in this situation, because ultimately the market has provided them with what they want. All right, so you can apply that again to any question on resource allocation. The structure will be very similar. I hope that helped. Bye for now.